Hello children, welcome to AIMS India's online classes. This is biology session, reproduction in plants, part 3. So far we have studied asexual reproduction and natural methods of vegetative reproduction, and in today's class we are going to discuss about the artificial methods of vegetative reproduction and sexual reproduction, some important concepts. So before going to today's class, let us recall the yesterday's class. So what are the natural methods of vegetative propagation? The method of plant multiplication occurring naturally, in which a vegetative part of the plant detaches from the body of the mother plant and develops into a new plant is called the natural vegetative propagation. Can you give some examples? Yes, the propagation by roots, the propagation by stem, propagation by leaves. Okay. So some stem modifications, root modifications and leaf modifications which help the plants to undergo the reproduction come under vegetative propagations. Vegetative propagation is also a kind of asexual reproduction. Why vegetative propagation is also considered as asexual reproduction, children? Because in vegetative propagation also there is no production of gametes and there is no fusion of gametes. What are gametes? Reproductive cells. Okay. So let us proceed to today's class. Are you ready? Yeah. Okay. Methods of vegetative propagation. One of the method we have studied in the last class. What is that? Cutting. In today's class, layering and grafting. Layering is one of the simplest method. In layering, the lower branch of the stem is bent so that a part of the stem is buried under the soil. Okay, that part which is buried under the soil, which is bent, it is called a layer, and the process is called layering. Okay. The growing tip remains above the soil surface. After some time, roots grow from the stem part which is buried in the soil. So this method is used in the plants like jasmine, strawberry and bougainvillea, in some ornamental plants and floricultured plants. Okay, horticultural plants also this method is adopted. Strawberry, bougainvillea and jasmine. So next method, that is grafting, most popular method. In this method, the desired plant is derived from two different individuals. So in cutting and layering, only one plant is used, but here the involvement of two. In this method of grafting, the desired plant is derived from two different individuals. Okay. So the portion taken from one plant is called the stalk, while the stem portion from the other is called the scion. Okay, the stalk is also called root stalk, and the stem portion from the other plant which is desired with the desired characters, okay, is called the scion. Scion is the plant which one wants to propagate, and so it is grafted on the stalk. Scion is also called graft. It shows the special characters, it shows the desired characters. Okay, so this is grafting is one of the method which need skill. The success of grafting depends upon the formation of new tissue between the scion and stalk. Okay, stalk is already rooted, but the scion part we are grafting on the stalk. Okay, there are different methods of grafting also there. So let us see here the layering. This is the mother plant. So one of the stem which is near to the ground is bent down, and it is covered by soil, and a weight is placed on it. So after a few days we have to regularly water it so that the nodal portion, roots will develop. After developing the roots, you can cut this portion, which can develop into a new plant. Okay, after the formation of new roots, automatically this can grow into an individual plant. So this process is called layering. Layering is also two types are there. This is ground layering, which in the image shown is ground layering, and air layering is also there. In that air layering it is also called guti. In some horticulture plants like pomegranate, so this air layering is most popular. Now see, this is the grafting. So actually this is stalk, root stalk, and here a wound is made, and the same type of wound is made in the scion, and same type of cut, such that the scion should fit in the stalk, V-shaped cut. So like this. So after placing in the gap made in the stalk, the scion is inserted, and it is tightly tied with a polythene paper or a thread, such that there is no gap. So it should be tied firmly so that both the tissues of scion and stalk fuse or touch each other. Okay, the success of this grafting, this kind of grafting is called side grafting. There are different methods of grafting are there, like bud grafting, okay, tongue grafting. So like that 3 or 4 types of grafting is in popular. So most of the horticulture plants, fruit yielding plants, citrus and mango plants can be propagated by means of this grafting. Even the floriculture plants like rose, different varieties of rose, okay, we can use this grafting method, but this grafting is not 100% successful unless it is trained people can do it. Whereas layering is very simple, and it can be done. Ground layering is 100% success, but the grafting requires skills, and some favorable conditions should be provided such that the new tissue is formed between the scion and the stalk. Okay, so scion is the plant which one wants to propagate. Some plants, every plant we require some qualities. What are those qualities? They are called desired qualities, or desired traits, or desired characters. What are they? Less crop duration, more yield, disease resistance. Okay, so these are all the best characteristics we require. So by means of this grafting, layering, especially the grafting method, we can convert less useful variety into a highly useful variety. Okay, by grafting a scion with desired characters. Whereas in normal vegetative propagation, it is not possible to introduce the new things. It is also a method of vegetative propagation, but it is an artificial, man-made method of vegetative propagation. Okay. Let us proceed. Next method of vegetative propagation. Actually, this is not vegetative propagation. We can call it as micro propagation or tissue culture. In this method, or we can say it is a technique, a tissue is taken from the tip of the plant as it is composed of undifferentiated and immature rapidly dividing cells. Those cells are also called totipotent cells. Okay, the tip of the root or below the tip of the root and below the tip of the stem or beneath the buds, there are certain cells which are actively dividing. So undifferentiated and immature cells which can divide rapidly, such cells are called totipotent cells. So the tissue is grown. So you have to select such a tissue from the desired part of the plant, or we can say the part of the tissue which is chosen, it is called an explant. The tissue is grown in a suitable medium containing necessary nutrients and hormones. The tissue grows into an unorganized mass which is called as callus. The undifferentiated mass of cells which is formed during the tissue culture, it is called callus, C-A-L-L-U-S. Okay, the small parts of this tissue, callus, are put in another medium which induces the formation of plantlets. Plantlets means small baby plants. Okay. So the plantlets can be transplanted in the soil or in the pots with manure, so which can be grown separately. So this technique is also called micropropagation. Micropropagation. Micropropagation is the technique of raising new plants from a small plant tissue which is called as explant, grown in culture medium under aseptic conditions. Aseptic conditions means the conditions where there is no growth of bacteria or fungi or any other microorganisms, or we can say sterile conditions. Okay, aseptic conditions. So the micropropagation is a very rapid method of multiplication by which we can produce the plants with disease free of virus. Virus-free plants can be produced, and the plants can be produced to develop healthy stalks. So that's why the micropropagation is the modern method. It is very important. The problem of food production is solved by this method of micropropagation or tissue culture. There are different types of tissue culture. If any organ is there, organ culture. If any pollen grain is used, pollen culture. Like that, desired part of the plant is selected and can be grown in the culture medium during the in the process of tissue culture. Okay. See here, a simple image is given here. Tissue sample scraped from the parent plant. That tissue sample is called as a explant. The tissue sample is placed in agar or growth medium. Agar. Coconut milk, it is often called agar growth medium containing the nutrients and auxins. Auxins are the hormones which helps in the initiation of roots. Okay, some growth hormones are also added in the culture medium so that the faster initiation of, if you take a seed and sow in the soil, it may take weekdays or 10 days or 15 days depending upon the type of seed, type of the plant from which we have selected the seed. Different plants has its own germination duration date. Okay, but in tissue culture it is not like that. Very fast you can develop the roots, you can produce your desired characters. Okay, now the sample which is placed in this agar or growth medium, and in which the nutrients and auxins hormones are added, that sample develop into tiny plantlets. These tiny plantlets are planted in the compost or in the soil, or potted separately. So after growing certain height, we can use that plant. Okay, we can transplant, we can grow it separately. So in the culture medium, tissue culture is adopted along with other techniques like microbiology and biotechnology. By using the biotechnology and genetic engineering, desired plants can be produced. The plants with a short height, the plants with a high yielding capacity, the plant with a complete disease resistance. Okay, the plant with large size fruits, the plants with more sweet fruits. All these characters can be introduced in the culture, okay, at the time of culturing, by using a technique called gene transfer, modern technology. Okay, so whatever it may be, this kind of technique is called as micropropagation. Micropropagation is the technique of raising new plants from a small plant tissue. Okay, if you take a seed, only one plant can be grown, but by this method large number of plants can be produced in a short span of time. Okay, right, let us proceed to next method. So far we have completed the asexual method of reproduction in plants, vegetative method of reproduction in plants, and the artificial methods of vegetative propagation like cutting, layering, grafting, and the micropropagation tissue culture is completed. So now come to, most of the plants prefer a method called sexual reproduction. The sexual reproduction occurs in the plants as well as in the animals. It is the most common method of reproduction and most advantageous reproduction over all the methods which we have studied. Okay, here the sexual reproduction refers to the process of development of new individuals through the formation and fusion of male and female gametes. The sexual reproduction is also called amphimixis or syngenesis. These are the terms which you come across in the higher classes. Amphimixis or syngenesis or amphigony. Okay, whereas asexual reproduction, agamogenesis or agamogeny. Okay, now syngenesis or amphigony or amphimixis, the new terms which we come across. So sexual reproduction refers to the process of development of new individuals through the formation and fusion of gametes, male and female gametes. Here two parents are involved, male and female. One is male and the other one is female, are required for the sexual reproduction. The two types of reproductive cells called gametes are produced from the reproductive organs of the two parents, and the male parent produces the male gamete and the female parent produce the female gametes. A male gamete is usually small with a nucleus and a little cytoplasm. The female gamete is large with a nucleus and more cytoplasm than the male gamete. The fusion of these two gametes is called fertilization. Okay, the formation of gametes and fusion of gametes. Fusion of gametes is called fertilization. The product of fusion of two gametes, male and female, it is called zygote. Zygote is the product of fertilization. Okay. So in sexual reproduction, all the organisms grow. Actually what happens means, if you take in general, all the organisms grow to a certain maturity in their life before they start reproducing sexually, isn't it? The period of growth between their birth up to their reproductive maturity is called the juvenile phase, growing phase, juvenile phase. In plants, the period of growth between the seed germination up to initiation of flowering, it is called vegetative phase. Okay, listen carefully children, the terms which I am using. In plants, in animals we are calling it as juvenile phase, attaining the sexual maturity after certain age. In plants, the period of growth between seed germination up to initiation of flowering, it is called vegetative phase. The later part means after vegetative phase, when the organisms start reproducing sexually, it is called reproductive phase. Okay, after vegetative phase followed by reproductive phase. The juvenile phase is of variable duration in different organisms. Reproductive phase or juvenile phase, it is of variable duration in different organisms. Okay. Okay, let us proceed. How the sexual reproduction takes place in the plants. The male gamete in a flowering plant is a nucleus in the pollen grain. The male gamete in the plants is called as a pollen grain. In most animals, it is called a sperm. It is called the sperm. In plants, pollen grain. The female gamete in plants is a large egg cell in the ovule. Okay, the female gamete in the plants is a large egg cell in the ovule, whereas in animals it is called ovum. Single, it is called ovum. In most of the animals, large number of eggs may be produced in lower animals, ova. Okay. So after fertilization means the fusion of male gamete and female gamete, the zygote is formed. The zygote undergoes cell division and forms the new individuals. So after the formation of zygote, it undergoes the cell division and which results in the formation of new individuals. So importance of sexual reproduction. Why the sexual reproduction is very important? There are few advantages are there. The sexual reproduction brings about a fusion of gametes from both the parents, that is male and female, and the zygote so formed thus possesses the characters of both parents. So this also helps to bring variations. Variations means changes among the new individuals. Thus the children of the same parent show variations. So hybrids are produced by this sexual reproduction. That's why disease resistance, drought resistance, okay, some new characters, propagation of species takes place through this sexual reproduction. Why? Because it involves recombination of genes, exchange of genetic material takes place during the sexual reproduction. Okay, children. So what is the sexually reproducing part of the plant? The most attractive part of the plant is flower. The flower is also called reproductive shoot. Reproductive shoot of the plant. A typical flower has 4 main parts, which you already studied. The typical flower has 4 main parts. They are sepals, petals, stamens, and carpels. Okay, a flower shows green sepals, brightly colored petals, stamens, and carpels. Of these 4 parts, the stamens and carpels, last 2 parts, they are most important. They are important parts. Why? Because they take part in a sexual reproduction, stamens and carpels. The stamens are the male reproductive part. Stamens are the male reproductive parts, while the carpel is the female part. A stamen consists of an anther and a filament. The stamen consists of an anther and a filament. An anther is a swollen structure present on the tip of the filament. Okay, so filament is attached to the anther, or anther is attached to the tip of the filament. The anther produces a powdery substance called the pollen grains. Anther produces a powdery substance called pollen grains, or simply we can call it as pollen. The pollen grains contain the male gametes, or the pollen grain itself is called a male gamete. Okay, so this is the stamen. Stamen means it's a complete one. So a stamen consisting of 2 parts, anther and filament. This is the filament. Okay, so the main function of this anther is to produce pollen grains. It has pollen sacs. Inside the pollen sac, several cell divisions takes place. Pollen mother cells will be there. They undergo cell division and produce pollen. Once the anther sac is filled with pollen grains, it undergo dehiscence. Dehiscence means breaking down, and release the pollen grain into the atmosphere. So these pollen grains, either they may be carried by wind or water or any insects or birds to the female reproductive part of the flower, where the fusion of gametes takes place. Okay, so this is the male reproductive. What is the male reproductive part of the flower? Stamens, or it is also called androecium. What is androecium means? The group of stamens present in a flower is called androecium. Androecium is the male reproductive part of the flower. Gynoecium, it is the female reproductive part of the flower. Androecium consisting of stamens. Each stamen consisting of 2 parts. What are they? Anther and filament. What is the function of anther? Anther undergoes cell division. Inside the pollen mother cells are present, PMC. They undergo cell division and produce the pollen grains. Whereas the female reproductive part of the flower The next part is the female reproductive part. Out of the 4 parts, that is sepals, petals, andrecium and gynoecium, or stamen and carpels. The last 2 parts, stamen and carpels, andrecium and gynoecium, are the essential parts. Remaining parts are called accessory parts. Okay, accessory means not much needed, but their function is to protect the internal parts of the flower. Okay. So now come to the female reproductive part, a carpel. A carpel consisting of a basal swollen portion which is called ovary, and the ovary continues into a long style and ends in a knob like structure which is sticky. It is called stigma. Okay. Stigma, style, ovary. The basal part of the carpel is called ovary, the middle part is called style, and the end part, the tip of this carpel, is called as a stigma, which is sticky. Why it is sticky means to receive the pollen grains. Next, the ovary contains many ovules. These ovules, the female gamete egg, it is present inside the ovule. In many plants, the male and female parts are present in the same flower. Such flowers are called bisexual flowers. For example, pea, mustard, sunflower, China rose or hibiscus. Okay, most of the flowers, they are bisexual, which possess both male and female parts. In some plants, the male and female parts are born in different flowers. Such flowers are called unisexual flowers. Example, date palm, papaya, mulberry, cucumber, bottle gourd, bitter gourd, okay, snake gourd. So all these gourds, pumpkin, they possess both male and female flowers separately. Unisexual flowers are produced in such plants. Okay. So here the pistil or stigma. The stigma is the tip portion of the carpel. Carpel is also called pistil. It is also called gynoecium. So these are all the different terminology is very important which you studied in the regular also. So pistil, gynoecium or carpel. Okay. So it is divided into 3 main parts: stigma, style, ovary. Ovary is the female reproductive part. Okay, this is thalamus, stalk of the flower. Okay, on which ovary, and from here the male reproductive part. Bisexual flowers means the flowers with both male and female reproductive organs in a single flower. It is called bisexual flower. If only gynoecium separate and andrecium separate, or stamen separate, flower showing only stamens, it is called male flower. The flower showing only gynoecium, it is called as female flower. Okay. So inside the ovary, if you take the cross section, you will find the ovules. In the ovules, these eggs are present, female gametes. And if a flower shows all the 4 parts, that is calyx, corolla, andrecium and gynoecium, these are the technical terms which you study. Calyx include sepals, corolla include petals, andrecium include stamens, and gynoecium include carpels. Okay. If all these 4 parts are present in a flower, then it is called a complete flower. It is called a complete flower. any of these parts are absent, then it is called a incomplete flower. If a flower possesses both androecium and gynoecium, bisexual flower. If a flower possesses only androecium, it is male flower. If it possesses only gynoecium, it is female flower. Okay. So this terminology is very important. Morphology, the study of external characters of organism. So morphology of flowering plants, you come across even in the 6th class also. Okay children, I hope you understood. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for receiving latest updates.